Beaten Hogwarts Legacy on hard, so it is time for the final verdict, you broom-riding bastards. Played it on PlayStation 5 and performance is fantastic, frame rate is stable and game looks amazing. Can't ask for more in that department. Audio work is also top notch, from sound effects to most voiceovers. Game is a bit buggy however, but nothing that would affect the experience tremendously. Played the game for about 40 hours and didn't bother finishing side stuff as side content is quite weak, repetitive and boring. In my early review of Hogwarts Legacy I did say it is one of the bigger worries heading into later stages. Link to first 15 hours early review is in the description. Score given in that video for first 15 hours is 8 out of 10, which translates to a great game. Unfortunately, as predicted, game cannot be scored as high as that after the great opening. I'll try not to repeat many points to extensive detail like it was done in the early review, but mostly try to add on top of all that. While in early game story is divided amongst classes and pursuit for knowledge about ancient magic with Professor Fig, later on classes become generic quests with generic cutscenes, unfortunately. Ancient magic storyline is fine with interesting characters, but a bit generic. I was also disappointed with the ending as it forces unnecessary deaths to play on emotions while not presenting it in a convincing way. Don't want to spoil anything specific, but you'll see for yourself. Last mission is really good though. Now that I have had more time to see villains in act, it is obvious not much thought went into them. Rookwood is far better acted and more interesting than Ranrock, but still not quite enough to be considered a memorable villain.
Searching in vain for Bragpor's last journal. Wasted my time chasing a child.
Story missions are full of puzzles, mixed with combat, and it works well. Puzzles are well thought out but confusing at times due to magic being primary driving force in the game and used in solutions for all puzzles. Takes a bit getting used to and thinking outside of the box. I have to mention disappointing pre-order bonuses like black colored hippogriff, cool dark arts outfit and Hogsmeade shop quest, which is in my opinion best mission in the game. This is why you must never pre-order. More you do, more they are going to cut the content out. If you have bought fully priced game, then you should have access to same content as everyone else. Period. There are no arguments that speak of benefits of pre-ordering. Don't fool yourself, cause they are fooling you if you're pre-ordering. World of Hogwarts looks fantastic visually. Hogwarts, as mentioned in early review, is brilliantly designed with tons of secrets and details like Peeves harassing students, suits of armor moving and fighting, pictures looking alive, classrooms being almost replicated from the books and movies. 10 out of 10 location. World outside Hogwarts graphically impressed me a lot. Again, so much detail texture wise. Bunch of content to do too. Side quests for the most part are interesting and unique story wise. I have to commend them for making a decent effort. During side quests, player encounters mythical creatures such as centaurs, fight against poachers while saving different animals, dive for treasures in the lake and so on. Great thing is that side quests a lot of times introduce new small mechanics, and I think that is good approach to making them more relevant. Besides quests, world is full of repetitive and boring stuff to do, like Merlin trials. And you have to do them, because Merlin trials specifically increase inventory limit that is abysmally small and such an annoyance. Magical world where we can stick 20 unicorns in a sack but can't hold more than 20 pieces of gear with equipped stuff counting towards the limit too. Just stupid, but I guess they had to make people do these weak trials to increase boredom and artificially increase game time. Oh look, people can play Hogwarts Legacy for 100 hours as there is so much content. Crap content, mostly, besides side and main quests. Arena fights are fun mainly because combat is fun, but almost everything else is straight up weak. Here is an example of the type of quality side content you'll be doing a lot. Ancient magic hotspots that increase ancient magic meter, so quite important, same as Merlin trials. Too bad they are as dull and uninteresting too.
That wasn't so difficult.
Combat is quite fun because of all the cool magic player possesses and how it is used to manipulate and destroy enemies. Very fun magic focused combat that never gets dull. Decent amount of setups as well to play around with. Visual effects are fantastic, accompanied by great sound effects that make combat feel so much more impactful. Even though combat is fun, AI and offensively enemy design is atrocious. Some of the worst I've seen lately. Enemies literally standing around doing nothing, while the one that is attacking is given 1 or 2 attack patterns and that is it. They don't use numbers wisely, they are brainlessly attacking after same mini break periods between combos and they are barely any challenge. Only reason why you will die on hard difficulty is because damage player receives increases dramatically and you die in 2 hits. Bad hard difficulty design. Unlike almost no effort that went into enemy offense and AI, strategically enemies can be manipulated in many ways by using specific magic at specific time. Now that is great. For example, if Troll rushes and misses, it is going to bang against the wall, which opens up a brief moment of vulnerability that increases damage done to the big bastard. Or if it misses with a club, player can use Flipendo to flip it in its face. Every enemy has some type of vulnerability, which is great. Unfortunately, there aren't many enemy types, but it doesn't bother that much. Fighting normal enemies that can be manipulated in so many ways never gets dull, no matter if it is the same enemy.
Flipendo! Confringo! Incendio!
Unfortunately, boss fights suffer from same problems, methodically very similar to fighting a troll. Same I have described before, couple attack patterns and that is it. There are barely any boss fights and they don't feel like anything outside of the ordinary. Character progression in terms of gear, traits and talents is quite weak as well. I still don't see a point in gear levels because enemies scale for the most part to player level. Every piece of gear comes with offense and defense stat, that is it, lazy and pointless design. Traits are all right idea but implemented badly without much thought behind it. For example, Herbology trait grants more DPS to Chinese cabbage than Fang's trait, which specifically increases only cabbage damage. Concentration trait that increases spell damage made obsolete by Unforgivable trait. Also, what is the point of even having damage reduction traits against specific enemy type? Did any of you ever use any of them? Of course not, cause game isn't challenging enough to require that stuff. Almost no thought went behind trait design. I know why they have included so many useless traits, but do you know why? Let me explain. They know we are going to notice uselessness of most of these and hunt only for the worthy ones. So they went with it to artificially increase game time for people to grind for things. Then it is going to say 70 hours spent on Hogwarts Legacy. My money was well spent, you would think to yourself. While the truth is that half of that time was wasted on weak side content, going back to shops to sell excess gear, save and load before chests to get wanted traits and gear and whatnot. That isn't quality good time, that is bad and boring time spent. Neo is one of the biggest offenders in history in that aspect. This is the reason they go with so-called RPG-light systems. Not to make fantastic character progression, but to increase game time and grind by locking things behind RNG and levels. RNG is one of the worst modern gaming designs, especially when it comes to loot, as it is created for sole purpose of increasing game time while not having to come up with a decent gear system. It is lazy and plays on gambling side of things that humans respond to emotionally well due to dopamine boost when you eventually get the desired thing. Honestly, I stopped caring about the loot altogether during the last 10 hours or so by not even looting stuff anymore. It is baffling also that we can be a thieving little cunt so easily without any repercussions. No morality or law system of any kind. Talents are thankfully well done. They change how spells work significantly. Seems like all the energy went into talents when it comes to character progression. Couple closing things to comment before the final verdict. Room of Requirement is a great idea that is truly well done. Crafting, catching magical beasts for ingredients, altering is all well created. I like the fact that there is small amount of different ingredients, gear upgrade materials and combat consumables. Usually games go overboard with this stuff and you get lost and forget about most consumables, but not in Hogwarts Legacy. I think this is ideal quantity of materials and combat consumables. Mounts look really cool and are a joy to ride. Customization rewards for completed exploration are a good idea, as there are some really cool options, but ultimately they could have went much further with costumes. Again, lots of mediocre ones that are never gonna be used. Dialogue is sometimes very weak and drawn out for no reason, with too many thank you, oh no thank you, and similar stuff. Also, dialogue options for the most part don't mean anything, however they do matter in two occasions only. Sebastian's Sallow questline unlocks dark arts, and these spells can only be acquired after questions have been answered in a certain way. Same with good and bad ending during last mission, but endings don't differ that much anyway. Hogwarts Legacy, despite its glaring flaws that are far more noticeable after spending couple dozen hours with the game, is still a good game in my book, so 7 out of 10 it is. Fun combat, decent story and side quests, good aesthetic customization, great looking world, amazing Hogwarts and fantastic characters and voiceovers except Sirona, that is such an anachronistic character and painfully forced one as well. Unfortunately, the game has lazy designs all over the place in contrast to a lot of effort that went into Hogwarts, for example. 7 out of 10 is a realistic score, with potential remaining at 7. PC users beware of performance and read before buying the game, cause I've heard it wasn't that good on release date. That being said, it highly depends if you're a young gamer or mature one. Younger and especially fans of Harry are going to enjoy it much more, but mature gamers are going to notice most of the flaws easily. This review was done from a point of a mature gamer, so keep that in mind. Anyway, that is all. Off to another game.